For those who grew up poor, what did you consider a luxury? Going places during school vacation. The kids would be all like, what? You've never been to this amusement park? No, Trisha. My family doesn't even have a car, which is another luxury to me. Being allowed to turn on the heat during the winter, and also being able to hire a professional to fix broken appliances, plumbing, etc. My mom had 7 children in 10 years, 1950 to 1960. I remember having a whole bottle, those smallish glass ones, that came out of the machine for 10 cents of soft drink to myself instead of sharing one bottle between all 7 of us. I was perhaps 5 years old. I still remember this as the best thing ever. Parents staying home. I was always alone. I got pretty excited to be given my own bed. Staying at someone's house who wasn't poor, like a relative or friend. Their house was also so clean, beautiful, pictures on the wall, knickknacks on the counter, and carpet you could play on because it was clean. I spent my entire teenage years hiding where I lived. Undefined. Too bad we couldn't have been friends as teenagers. A hot shower. Cold showers were always available, but when you scraped enough cash to get some diesel fuel and get the burner to kick on long enough to have a hot shower, man, absolutely nothing better. New clothes. I grew up pretty poor, no TV, no toys, but had a Sears catalog. My dad got in a serious accident when I was in 4th grade and almost lost his life. He won a small settlement from the community college he was working at, and I was able to buy new clothes for the first time in my life. Before this, all I ever had were hand-me-downs from my cousin and donation clothes from the church. Most were worn to the point of having patches on the knees. The worst part about getting new clothes for the first time is I felt terrible the whole time picking out new clothes, because I always felt like a financial burden to my parents. I remember going to Miller's Outpost and picking out typical 80s clothes op, TNC, etc. It's funny how growing up poor affects my everyday choices, for better or worse. I'll never outgrow some of the feelings I had as a poor kid, and I feel for any kid who has to endure a childhood of poverty. It will affect them and their choices for the rest of their life. Undefined. Honestly didn't know that pastoroni was one until I was a grown-ass man. I thought that was some gourmet speep. Going to the movie theater. Having my own bedroom. Having breakfast. It's gotten to the point where I can't eat in the morning because my body is so used to waiting. Brand name cereal was for the upper class, man. My mother used to consider any kind of cereal a luxury. They only had one box a month. I don't know if anyone can relate, but in about 3rd maybe 4th grade, me and my twin brother had a music class where we were both required to buy a recorder. Like a plastic flute thing. Well, my mom said we didn't have the money, so my twin brother and I tore the whole house up in search of 642 recorders. We brought a Ziploc bag full of change, pennies, nickels, dimes, etc. I think the teacher felt sorry for us, cause she paid for our recorders when the rest of the students left the room. Gave us the Ziploc bag back. Thank you, Mrs. Albrecht. Undefined. Grew up pretty poor in Arkansas in a trailer. I literally got a door to my bedroom for Christmas one year. It probably still was the best gift I ever received. Undefined. Go Pigs Ahoy. A new winter coat. I don't remember having a new winter coat until I was probably 14 or 15. They had always been hand-me-downs from my cousins. They were usually at least 10 years old by the time I got them, and the stuffing would be all clumped up. In middle school I was on reduced school meals, so it would be 40 for lunch. So my parents would always give me 2 quarters every morning for lunch. Now the cafeteria would also sell cookies, which wasn't part of the lunch set, for 50 each. So saving 10 each day, I could afford 1 cookie by Friday's lunch. Good times. Undefined. school parties where everyone brought something to share for lunch. If you don't bring something, you don't get to participate. I brought 2 carrots after not being able to afford school lunch for 2 years. Even the teacher laughed at me. My young self just decided that day that some people don't deserve lunch. Undefined. I hope all of you have such blessed, happy days, because you've made me smile, too. Doritos. Or any name brand chips, actually. Air conditioning. Sometimes we had a jacked up old window unit that would cool down my parents' room on the hottest of summer nights, and we would sleep in sleeping bags on their floor. Sometimes it was broke. Sometimes it just wasn't hot enough to justify running it. Never during the day though. That's what the library was for. I remember in 8th grade on my birthday at school, one of my teachers asked me what gifts I had received. He asked in front of the whole class. I excitedly shared that I would be getting contact lenses. My parents let me choose one thing that I wanted, and I desperately wanted to stop wearing the broken glasses I had, which I usually didn't wear. One of the boys in class made a comment like contacts aren't a present, and my teacher had to explain to him again in front of everyone that for some families they were too expensive not to be a luxury. After that experience I worked 2 and 3 jobs in high school so I could buy myself and my brothers the things we needed. The first thing I bought with my money from my first job as a hostess at a diner was a queen size bed, because my twin mattress was about 20 years old, and at 15 I was having back problems and issues with rusted springs poking me. Buying new clothes. The days I justify ordering all kinds of dumb stuff online, but I've always felt a mental block on buying new clothes. It feels like an unjustified luxury because I always got by on second-hand clothes and free t-shirts undefined. For my school's Spirit Week, they had a thrift shop day where most everyone dressed in old ratty clothes or the weirdest stuff they could find in a thrift shop. Needless to say, as someone whose clothes were 80% second-hand, it was an eye-opener. Taking a bath. I mean, we bathed every night, but it was by heating up water that we would go to the park down the road to get in 5-gallon jugs and filling up a mop bucket to wash off with. Staying over at a friend or family member's house and getting to take an actual shower was amazing though. It's a long time ago, but when I was young, about 6 to 8 years old back in the early 1960s, we had meat once a week for the family dinner on Sundays. Being able to get candy at a store, new school supplies, brand name food, going out to eat at a restaurant. Until the age of 12, I thought that you weren't allowed to buy things that weren't on sale. My mom only bought things when they were on sale and or she had a coupon. So I thought that the non-sale items weren't being sold. Being poor in the Philippines meant no hot water for showers. This was manageable during dry season, since it was always hot. But during rainy seasons, when it would cool outside more, it really sucked. I just never enjoyed showers. When I moved to the US, I had hot waters and baths. Holy crap. I now love getting clean. Electricity lol. Thanks for paying the bill this month, Mom. Eating every day. Renting a movie from Blockbuster the first weekend of every month. My brother and I got to pick any movie we wanted, as long as it wasn't rated R. On really special nights, we even got a 2-liter bottle of Sprite for the family to share. We're ordering pizza for dinner. And it isn't just plain mozzarella this time. Lunchables lol. My parents never knew why we wanted to get those for our school field trips. I remember being extremely jealous when kids pulled them out during those trips, especially the pizza ones. And upstairs. As a kid, I remember hearing a friend say they were too lazy to run downstairs for something, and thinking I'd kill to be able to run downstairs. Butter. Everything. Actual pajamas were a big one. I always slept in hand-me-down t-shirts. Ordering a drink when you eat out as well. KFC takeout was the best night of the year growing up. Only got it once a year, but man was it the best night ever. Owning books. Pancakes. But now as an adult, and knowing how cheap pancakes really are, I think my mom just didn't want to make them. McDonald's. Clothes that fit. Soda. Having a toy that other kids thought was cool undefined. Pop-Tarts and toaster strudels. Chef Boyardee. Not even kidding. Undefined. Restaurants were definitely somewhere at the top of my list. I lived through the tail end of apartheid in South Africa, so we weren't allowed into restaurants. Also, non-iceberg lettuce. Dairy products, like a full glass of milk, cheese, cottage cheese, yogurt, flavored milk, longs, a dining table and family meals at the table. Vacations that didn't involve staying with relatives. Actual real milk. My mum used to buy something called 5 pints. It was powdered milk that you added cold water to and shook to make milk. I remember the lumps of it in my cereal. I see nobody says this, but going to the dentist or any doctor at all. My grandma would take me to Chuck E. Cheese on my day and give me a bunch of tokens. That speep was lux. Privacy. I slept in the living room. Jeans from the mall. New show Undefined. We had a babysitter that lived in a 2-story house, and that was way more fancy than our trailer home. Some of these posts make me cry. Having a fridge full of food. New clothes. My mom worked at the League of Catholic Women resale shop. If God wants you to have it, it'll come into the resale shop. Fruit roll-ups, gushers, and the like. Coming from a kid who had to eat the packaged PB&J for lunch every day cause we couldn't afford the regular lunch card. A candle day breakfast. I don't know if you have these in American or not, but it's basically beans, mushroom, sausage and potato in a can. My parents had little to no money growing up, and for whatever reason I used to really love these, and I was the only one in the family who enjoyed them. Every now and then I'd open the cupboard to find one sat there waiting for me, and the happiness was unreal as I know these things used to be like $1.50 a can. Oddly, I can't bring myself to eat them now I'm grown up. Ice cream. My mom used to work in front of an ice cream shop, and on every payday weekly she took me to eat ice cream. And always made sure I understood this was a luxury for us, and the fact that she did this every payday didn't mean that I should take that for granted. After I grew up, I did the math, and she was spending like 10% her salary on this. Now that I can have ice cream anytime I want, I do not actively look for it, but whenever I'm near an ice cream shop, I get some. It's like a magnet. I love you, Mom.